Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And thank you for joining me today on Educated and Unfiltered. I'm really glad you're here today because what we're going to have a conversation about is something that affects every single one of us, whether you're a parent, grandparent, teacher, principal, superintendent, school board member, or simply someone who cares about the future of our country. I want to talk about what education researchers are calling America's reading recession. Now, when you hear the word recession, your mind probably goes straight to the economy. You think about inflation, unemployment, or the stock market. But this recession is very, very different. It's happening inside our classrooms. And in my opinion, it's one of the most important issues facing education today. Across the country, reading scores have declined, and many students are struggling to read at grade level. And this is very concerning for me. That's more than just a statistic. Every number represents a child with dreams, talents, and potential who may not be getting the opportunity to develop the reading skills they need to succeed. Think about that for a minute. I want you to think about it because over the summer, parents have had a lot of time to get their kids in front of a textbook. And reading isn't just about another subject. We teach in school. Reading is the foundation for everything else. If a student struggles to read, they're going to struggle in science because they can't understand the text. They'll struggle in social studies because they can't analyze historical documents. They'll struggle with math because so many problems require reading and comprehension. Before students can even begin solving problems, they have to know how to read. Everything starts with literacy. So the question becomes, how did we get here? I don't think there's just one answer. Some people point to the pandemic, and that's been over years. Others point to excessive screen time and too much time on our cell phones and on the computer. Some even blame social media. Others believe students aren't reading enough outside of school anymore. And that's one of the points I was trying to make. What did you have your children doing over the summer now that school's back in session? The reality is that it's probably a combination of all of these things. Children today are growing up in a world filled with constant distraction, cell phones, tablets, video games, and social media. And they're competing for every single minute of our kids' attention during the day. So reading a book requires focus, patience, imagination, and sustained thinking. Skills that have become so developed when we're constantly switching from one screen to the next. And here's another piece of the puzzle that doesn't always get enough attention: chronic absenteeism. Now that schools are getting ready to start back, parents, please send your children to school. Students can't learn if they're not in school. Every day missed is a missed opportunity to build vocabulary, to improve comprehension, and to strengthen foundational reading skills. Those missed days accumulate, and over time they create learning gaps that become increasingly difficult for us to close as educators. But here's what gives me hope. I've worked in education a long time. I've worked long enough to know that there isn't a problem without solutions. I've seen schools improve. I've seen struggling students become confident readers. I've seen teachers perform incredible work when they have the right training, the right resources, and the support they need. I've also seen school leaders transform entire campuses, making literacy a priority. That's why I don't want today's conversation to be about blame. It's about responsibility. Parents, we all have a role. Teachers have a role. School leaders have a role. School boards have a role. Communities have a role. We all have to invest in our children. We have to invest in their education. And yes, policymakers have a role. If we're serious about changing the future of education, then we're going to make reading a priority. Reading has to become everyone's business. Imagine what our communities would look like if every child left elementary school reading confidently and independently. Graduation rates would improve, college readiness would increase, career opportunities for these children would expand. Businesses would benefit from a stronger workforce. Families would have more opportunities. Communities would become stronger. That's the power of literacy. So as I close today's conversation, I want to leave you with this thought. Every child deserves the opportunity to discover the joy of reading. Every teacher deserves the tools to help students succeed. Every parent deserves support in helping their children along the way to become lifelong learners. Every community deserves schools where literacy is not simply another academic goal, but the foundation for every student's future. So thank you for spending these few minutes with me today. I'm going to have more topics along the way as school is beginning to ramp up. And I hope this conversation resonated with you. Most importantly, we can help change the future of our students. Until next time, thank you.